Hey LeBron, and you've prided yourself in being able to play whatever position is needed to play, whatever needs to be done in the court. Just wondered over the last couple of years what you've observed about roster and going into next season, how this year contrasted with the previous two, and if you've started to have those kind of thoughts yet.
I mean, it's human nature to automatically start thinking about the roster and what it could look like, and how we could obviously have a roster that brings in more wins. I mean, that's the most important thing. That's the job that we're in. So I've started to think about it a little bit, but it's not solely on me, obviously. But we definitely want to be better. We want to be better coming into next year. That's the most important thing for the summer.
And just to follow up position-wise, you played some more center this year. You played point guard. Like, is just for you, is there a optimal there? Or is it being able to go back and forth to different positions depending on who's on the roster?
It doesn't matter for me personally. My personal goal is to be able to play any position on the floor. And every game is different. Matchups is different at times. So to be able to have the availability to our team that I could switch off and play center for minutes, or play point guard for minutes, or play the wing spot for minutes, according to what the game dictates or needs. That's for me to make sure that I'm equipped. I'm in the best possible shape I can be in to help us win ball games.
Dave.
LeBron, in February, you told us you see yourself being with this franchise, and you're here. And this summer, you're going to be eligible for a contract extension. Do you intend to extend with the Lakers this summer? And what are the determining factors that will go into that decision-making process?
Well, the conversation hasn't been talked about, and technically, because of the collective bargaining agreement, cannot even be discussed until later on in the year. So, I know it's out there, but we can't even, myself and Rich can't even begin to talk with Rob or the front office at all because of the collective bargaining agreement. So when we get to that point, we'll see.
Bill.
LeBron, what did you envision what did you expect from the Russ partnership that did not materialize? Obviously inclusive of health, but then also, do you feel like that is something that you guys can do again? Like, can you, Russ and LeBron, be the centerpiece of this team next year and be a championship contender?
I don't put any expectations on anything. I mean, it's all about coming in, putting in the work, and go from there. I mean, one thing about Russ that I love and will always love is, just his competitive spirit, what he brings to the game every single night. And when you're in a profession where so many injuries happen and so many things go on, and to have a guy that's reliable and can put on a uniform every single night, that's something I respect out of everything. And I'm not going to sit here and make decisions for the front office and things of that nature, but I love being a teammate with Russ, and that's just the way it is.
Kyle.
Ron, I know there's nothing official, but obviously there's an ESPN report that Frank is not going to coach more here. What comes to mind about your tenure here with Frank? I mean, the highs of the championship, obviously, the lows of this year. What comes to your mind when you think about that phase?
Well, I don't want to speak about what's been talked about and things of that nature, because I don't never get involved in those things. But I respect Frank as a coach, as a man, in our partnership that we've had over a few years here has been nothing but just candid, great conversations, and he's a guy who gives everything to the game, prepared us every single night, along with his coaching staff as well. You gotta give those guys a lot of credit too. But at the end of the day, I don't know what's going to happen. With Frank and being here, but I got nothing but respect for him.
Dan.
LeBron, you've been with this organization for 4 years, and it's been a pretty wide spectrum of results. You guys have won a title. You missed the playoffs twice. How do you sort of view this section of your career in that way? When you kind of consider it, has it been what you'd hoped? And I guess secondarily, what is your confidence in the organization that a foot can be put in the ground and a pivot can be made
Yeah.
to fixing things?
Well, I came here to win a championship, and I want to win more. So I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish, but I'm still hungry for more. So, and I'm confident that this organization wants the same. It's what this organization has always been about. And, I also wanted just to change the narrative, of how this franchise can compete at a high level again. If they've done decades of winning. So, but yeah, when I signed here, when Magic was here and Rob was here, obviously, Rob's still here, I told him that I want to, help this franchise become a champion once again. So I've done that. We've done that. But I want to do it again.
Melissa.
Hey, LeBron, what was the frustration level around, obviously, you having an MVP caliber season, an unprecedented season, and then the team having such a mediocre season, and just as a follow to that, you've made it clear that you wanted to stay in the league until your son comes up. How much longer do you think you can maintain this level of play?
To answer your first question, winning is everything to me, and the fact that I was playing the way I was playing and it wasn't resulting in the wins just, wasn't enough. The frustration level was definitely at a high at times, and because you're just trying to figure out how can you be better and figure out how the team can be better, and then you get hit with COVID protocols, and guys are in and out, and then you get hit with injuries, things of that nature, and you never just really get a full sample size of what the team can possibly be. Because I was watching the game last night, and I think last night was our 40th starting lineup, the 41st. That's literally half the season. 41 starting. Wow. So it's just you never get an opportunity to see what the ball club could have been. So. But definitely frustrating for sure. And how long I can play at this level, it's up to my health. It's up to my spirit. It's up to my motivation. The great thing for me is I get an opportunity now to be around my boys and watch those guys through their AAU tournaments and their summer ball, and that for the last 5 years has motivated me to come back. Just watching them and watching their circus. So I don't have a cap on how long I want to play. I don't want to say this or that. My wife doesn't want to hear that if it's longer than a certain amount of years. But I can still produce at a high level, as I showed this year for sure.
We'll just take a few more. BT.
Brian, do you and AD share any tips about off-season workouts? Do you offer him any suggestions?
I'm an open book. I've always been, still am, and I see AD, periodically during the summer. He has a lot going on. I have a lot going on, so we try to connect as much as we can, and AD knows, and if you need anything, and vice versa, that we just one call away, one text away, one FaceTime away. I could pull up on him, he could pull up on me, without even notice. So we have that.
Mark.
Hey, LeBron, how would you characterize what you hope and plan to have in terms of the collaboration with the front office with determining where to go from here?
Well, I think the front office is going to do whatever it takes to help this ball club become a better ball club from top to bottom. They ask me my opinion, I'll give my opinion, but at the end of the day, they're going to make the decision that they feel is best for the franchise. And it's my job to make sure I'm ready at the start of training camp and ready to lead the franchise and lead the team that's put on the floor, wherever that may be. So that is my focus. My focus is to, get rid of some of these injuries. Time heals all, so wait for these injuries to go down and then be ready in September when training camp starts again, and it's my job to lead the group of guys that the front office has decided I would be a part of this franchise.
We'll go Jovan, Dylan, and then end with Chris.
LeBron, we see each season how you kind of add or tweak something with your game. Or is there anything you've identified coming off of this season that you really want to focus in or kind of work on this offseason?
Yeah, I want to get to the free throw line. So I want to figure out how to trick the refs. I want to figure it out. I need to figure it out. I see too many stats about points in the paint, things of that nature, and I'm up there in the top leaderboard of field goals in the restricted area and things of that nature. But I'm in like the bottom tier of free throws per game, so I got to figure it out.
19 years, man. You figured it out, yeah.
Listen, man, I'm going to figure it out. I used to be up there now. I used to be up there. Pre-Miami, I was in the leaderboard of free throw attempts, and I think when I went there, the hell with you. Yeah, for sure.
LeBron, when a season unfolds the way it does, just kind of wondering how personally do you take the team's collective failure, and as you kind of reflect on the season, how responsible do you feel for what happened, if at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's not failure at all. I mean, listen, we came to work every single day, put our hard hats on, and we try to get better every day, and the result just didn't happen for us. So, but it's not a failure. It's not like, we came together as a team. We wanted to be as great as we can be. We just didn't accomplish a lot of the things that we would have hoped. But obviously, I'll take. If you follow me, any of my career, when we don't succeed, I take a lot of the responsibility. And that's just who I am. And so, I wish I could have been a lot better. Leading this franchise this year, I wish I could have been in uniform a lot more than I was. I think I gave 56 games, I believe it was, and that wasn't enjoyable at all. Sitting on the sideline and knowing that you can make a difference and not being able to do it. So, hopefully I could be a lot better with that next year.
Chris?
LeBron, where do you think this roster needs the most improvement? Offense, defense, getting younger?
All three. I think, all three facets you talk about, like in football analogies, offense, defense, special teams. So we got to be, I think, offensively, we showed the huge pickup after the All-Star break, offensively, how we can be. But we also showed a huge drop-off in defense. So there has to be a median of like, okay, yes, we want to get on the score. We want to be on attack mode. You want to push the pace. You want to push the tempo. But also, you can't be giving up 129, 130 points every damn game either and expect to win. There's just too many great basketball players and too many great teams. You got to be able to hold your head on the defensive side. I mean, at some point, you're going to look at the teams that's going to compete in the postseason this year. Right now, and a lot of the best teams are going to be, they're going to score, but they're going to defend. You're going to look at Milwaukee, you're going to see Miami, you're going to see Phoenix, Golden State, they're going to lock in defensively, and that's just to name a few. There's some other, good defensive teams too, but, and they're going to score too, but you got to be able to defend. You got to know, like, okay, the last 6 minutes of the game, 7 minutes of the game, when it becomes like gut-wrenching, you got to know the lineup that you can put out there that can do both, and that was, a big part of our problems this year. We couldn't finish games because we just had so many different closing lineups. There was just so many, moving parts that was very challenging for us. But I think all three, offense, defense, getting younger, is definitely, would be good for our team.
Jim, you're the only one in the room that didn't get a question. Do you have a question for LeBron?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. LeBron, you're used to a certain level of performance on the field, a certain expectations. How taxing was it on you, not only physically, but emotionally, going through the highs and lows that you did this year?
Yeah, I think more emotionally it was taxing. I think physically, I trained myself throughout the summertime to be able to do and endure anything physically. But I think emotionally, just, it was very taxing on me and the team and every individual probably in our locker room and our coaching staff and things of that nature on just trying to figure out how and why are we in this predicament or why are we in that position. We definitely went out on the floor and tried to figure it out and tried to help each other and hold each other accountable. It seemed like every time we would take like a step forward, you know, we would take, you know, 3 or 4 back. You know, we have a huge win at home versus a playoff, you know, contending team like Utah, and then go on the road and then, you know, lose a game to Houston, you know, or you know, or have a big win at home versus a title contending team, you know, like Golden State, and then hit the road and lose to Portland with no Dame, no CJ's traded away, you know, and the rest of those guys. So, you know, that was the mental, the mental side, like playing with your psyche, like what the heck is going on? Like, how can we be so great one night and then the next night we just so mediocre, you know, is the word. So, you know, that's the most challenging part of this season, for sure.
Yeah, time for one follow-up.
I got 9 minutes left.
Bill?
You got me, you ain't gonna give me again, so shit, you might as well ask a couple questions.
LeBron, you had an MRI on Friday.
Yeah.
As I understand it. What were the results of that? And then, you know, with the various injuries you had this summer, this season, there was the ab, the knee, the ankles.
Yeah.
Is there anything that is going to require, you know, anything extra this summer?
Well, I got the MRI on my ankle, like you said, on Friday, and there's no surgery required, no injections, but I'm gonna have to stay off of it for probably about 4 to 6 weeks to let it recover. I mean, it's funny, if we were the team that I would hoped and wish we were, I shouldn't have played in that New Orleans game after the injury. I kind of made it worse, but I wanted to see if we can make a late push. But it literally was like less than 1 week after the injury in New Orleans. So I kind of made it worse, but I'll make a full recovery in that. And then I got some more, you know, doctor appointments lined up within the next couple of weeks to take a look at my knee, take a look at my groin, and go from there. So hopefully no surgery and those things required, and I'll make a full recovery.
We'll take Alan Sliwa on Zoom.
Hey, Bron, I'm just curious your thoughts from the you, AD, and Russ together. Areas that you felt like there was potential, and other areas that you thought, okay, this might not change, or this will be a tough fit. Just curiosity, just as the season progressed, your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the areas where I saw that we could complement one another is Russ being, you know, the push guard that he is, being able to create tempo, me being the wing threat, getting out and running, and AD being a lob threat. I thought that we could be very successful in that, and also with our length and defensive prowess too, we could be really good. I mean, at the end of the day, the reason why we were not very good together, because we wasn't on the damn floor together. That is the number one thing. I don't know, you guys know, how many games did we play together?
21.
Played 21 games. That's a fourth of a season, less than a fourth of the season. So I can't even. I played more games with my high school teammates in the season. We only played 27 games. All right, so there it is.
Andy Kamenetsky on Zoom.
Hey, LeBron, just the last few years with the Lakers for you, injuries have been more of a factor than they've really ever been for the entirety of your career. Just from sort of a human standpoint, what has that been like for you, just having to deal with that now?
I think in the sense of it's been just some freak accidents. Obviously, my first year, you know, playing Golden State on Christmas Day, going down on a break, hitting a little wet spot, boom, growing pops, and pretty much out for the rest of the season. I mean, I came back a little bit, but I was never the same. The second year, obviously, you know, that was the championship run and things of that nature. Last year, I was probably the MVP of the season until I got my foot and leg rolled up on, high ankle sprain, and came back for the playing game, but I was not the same after that. Just if anyone is done with ever felt the ankle sprain or anything of that nature, it could be high, low, whatever the case may be, but I was never the same. And you know, this year, you know, dealing with the knee in January, but you know, was able to come back from that and dealing with the abdomen, the reoccurring of the abdomen that kept me out, which, we was able to get a good grasp on. And then, late in the season, obviously everybody's seen the play that happened in New Orleans. My foot not touching the ground before Jackson Hayes' foot hit the ground and bang. So, injuries is definitely a part of the game, and you try to put yourself in a position where you could be injury-free throughout a season. But, that's why I don't like taking off games. Everybody want me to sit down and take off games and things of that nature. Listen, you never know when the game would be taken away from you, so that's why I like to play in every game when I'm healthy. So hopefully I'll be in more than 58 games or 56 games next year for sure.
Dave.
So we acknowledge that the injuries were the pervasive challenge to this year's team, and then also you've shared in the past that you feel like the team building process, too many people go for instant oatmeal, that it requires time. Does a core of you, Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook, just need more time to grow? And should the prevailing wisdom be to bring it back?
Well, that's not my decision. It's not my decision to sit here and say, well, this is what we should bring back and have on the roster. That would be the front office decision, and obviously, they may ask for the input, but at the end of the day, like I said earlier, they'll make the decision they feel that best suits this franchise going forward. But listen, if we come back and that's the team, and whoever the team is, I told you I'll be ready. If you want to dust off your orange Syracuse Crush jersey and you happen to be on the roster, then me and Austin Reeves, we get some things done.
Sam Amick on Zoom.
That's such a bad idea.
We'll figure it out. Like you take a charge here and there.
Bron, that's a terrible idea, first of all. Listen, I want to ask you, there's a lot of confusion and criticism, I think, in the fans and the media sector right now about the way the franchise is handling Frank's situation, but I don't want to speak for you. They haven't announced the firing. You're now up there speaking to the world without that news. Do you have any problem with this?
Well, I only can control what I can control, Sam. And at the end of the day, I knew what time I was coming to speak to y'all, so I woke up extra early, got my daughter ready for school, dropped her off at school, and I came down here to see y'all. And I was here at 8:45 and ready to start it would have been at 9 o'clock on the dot, but Adam Mendelson kept me for a couple more minutes than I needed to be kept for. So I was in here at 9:03. So I apologize for those 3 minutes. But I can only control what I can control, Sam, and you can't worry about, what's going on the outside and how people feel and things of that nature. So it's a lot of things that can be done a certain way, it could be done better this way or that way. But, when decisions is made, you're never gonna make everybody happy. So that's just the way it is.
To be direct, have you been told, it certainly sounds like you have you been told that he's not going to be back?
It certainly sounds like I haven't. I have not been told. I've seen the reports just like everybody else. So we'll see what happens.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, last two, Jovan, and we're gonna finish up with Kyle.
LeBron, you played a lot more center this year, and I'm curious from a physical perspective, what's kind of the differences of the toll on your body from playing center versus forward and guard more, and are there elements of playing closer to the basket as a roller, posting up and such that can maybe help along your career and maybe be less physically taxing?
Well, I'm sitting here saying I want to get to the free throw line more, so me worried about physical taxing is definitely not something I want to, think about. But I think the only difference is playing on perimeter and playing the five, you do a lot more rolling, you do a lot more rim running from baseline to baseline, things of that nature, things that you see natural fives do. You're running up in a lot of more pick and rolls, so I think that would be, the only difference. You're playing in the paint a lot more than on the perimeter. But I have the luxury, because I can do things on the perimeter as well, to be able to float as well. Either picking and rolling, or if I see a big guarding me and he's in a deep drop, then I have the ability to pop. You know, I can shoot the ball from the outside. So, you know, I can mix it up. You know, I'm not just a regular 5 man. I'm a hybrid. I'm a hybrid. I could do whatever needs to be done.
Kyle?
LeBron, you had your highest scoring average of your career, and you were in the unique position of perhaps being able to qualify for winning the scoring title. I'm guessing based on what you're saying, your ankle, maybe that kind of went out of your hands, but was there any consideration to trying to qualify for the scoring title, and did missing on that mean something to you?
Once we were eliminated from playoff contention, then it's nothing to talk about, nothing to think about. I'm not be out there playing just to be playing meaningless games to try to win a scoring title. That's so beneath me and where I am in my career. You know, if I would have played enough games to qualify, period, in the beginning, then that would have took care of itself. But once we were eliminated from contention, and you know, knowing my ankle situation, but me going out there and playing in games that don't mean anything for myself personally or for this franchise. I mean, I want to take nothing away from the guys that went out and did what they did, winning these last 2 games. I thought the younger guys, they played great basketball, but for me, I'm 19 years in, and going after a scoring title when you're not making the postseason is the most wackest thing ever.